Hey everyone, before I get started, I just want to remind you that if you like my content, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and then join the Militiaman and Crew Patreon community by clicking the link in the caption. Good evening, everybody. Tonight it's Monday, and it is the 8th of May, and I'm glad to be here tonight. I've got a few things we want to talk about, and I think we're going to be finding some interesting things. One thing I like to do sometimes is in my study, I'll go back in time, and we can look at time to see what's happened or what was said to be happening in the past to get us to the forward. And it usually really shows direction. There's a lot of view that it's always a kicking of the can, but in some cases, if you think of the complexity and the nature of the beast of actually taking this third world country from a war-torn situation to a modern advanced situation for banking and government, because the electronic platforms that they have in place, they didn't have those in 2016 or 2012 or 2003, for instance. Okay, so if you've been here for 20 years, you really should be able to see that, wow, things are really different, even though it took forever, and we're still waiting to see what they do as far as the final episode is. You should feel comfortable that the amount of data that we have out is for real. And a shout out to BB today, because he pushed me to get a link to an article, because it was from Al Sudani. And Al Sudani spoke. He did say 3 weeks ago today, the Iraqi dinar will rise against the US dollar in the next few weeks. And so, having been challenged with that, which was fun, because it actually just made me think and say, well, you know what, I haven't done that in a while. I'll go back in history. So I did. And sure enough, I found certain things that are going to, people can come into Patreon, they can come into our Discord chat room, and they can see all the articles that Samson brings us and all the great work that the coordinator Gigi brings, Sunkiss, Pompey Peter, Petra, Day Trader, and many, many more people. They help me help you. And by that standard, you help us with your kind donations and your support with the Patreon community. So thank you very much. I guess there was like two things that were kind of driving some of the stuff that the central bank and the government have been working on. I guess the first was that when they changed to the new electronic platform, it created a problem for people. It created a problem for traders. It created a problem, and they pretty much resolved it, because they've taken that extra time to focus and keep it working. So the second thing that they did was they implemented that electronic platform, but they were allowed audits to take place, and those audits were to be able to find out and know their customers. That to me is a big issue, because you're going to go into that when you go to the bank. They're going to have to know who you are, and that's what they're going to do. I don't care if you're in Iraq, or if you're going to be in Vietnam, or if you're going to be in Indonesia, or if you're going to be in Zimbabwe. The banks are going to want to know who you are and where have you been and how did you get this. No different than the corruption that's been in, I'm not saying anybody's corrupt, I'm just saying that no different than the corruption in our country or their country or other people's countries, is that all of a sudden you have hundreds of billions of dollars on a state income. It doesn't match. So they're going to find that kind of stuff out. The new electronic platforms are based off of somewhat of honesty. We'll leave it alone. Okay, but just, it's not my view. It's just that's what's happening, what we should be expecting. There's effectively new restrictions, because banks, they have to use this electronic platform. They have to disclose their dealings and the details of who the sender is, who the recipient is, and is there anything suspicious about that. That's going to happen for us as well. So just keep that in mind. The gentleman by the name of Al Tamimi, the central bank is required to provide a greater amount of facilities and companies for merchants and traders for financial transfer. Effectively, what they're saying is there's not going to be a great demand for dollars in the parallel market anymore. The parallel market's the black market. It's the street market, if you will. Whatever word you want to use, but effectively what they're saying is that exchange rates are going up. So if it's the exchange rate of the dollar that's going up and getting stronger, they're going to have to get rid of it. They have a way to do that. If it's the Iraqi dinar that's gaining strength, then that's not such a big deal. It's obviously a good thing for you and I. That's what they're working on. So this article isn't probably the best one in the world to try to decipher, because translations are pretty hard. So those that can read and write Arabic can probably do a little better job. But the bottom line is it's coming from what I believe is from my understanding of the translations that we have. The central bank and its programs, they're just not going to stop. They're going to keep at the black market. They're going to keep at it. And I believe what the main focus here is going to be is that one way to kill the black market or to kill the parallel market is to become an Article 8 compliant exchange rate that the IMF has rules about. And if they do that, which I believe they will, there's no need for a parallel market. If the Iraqi dinar is significantly higher than the dollar, just like al-Sudani has said, not the United States, but al-Sudani has said that the Iraqi dinar compared to the dollar will be the strongest. So he said that. He said it more than once. He said it on different occasions. The one that was really outlined the dollar relationship to the dinar was on April 17th, 2023. And that's one of the links that I sent our good friend Bibi on YouTube. So I hope he gets that. A quick step the CBI could take is to get the Iraqi currency IMF Article 8 compliant with an internationally accepted currency exchange rate that is greater than the dollar. Those are my words, like al-Sudani has been on record saying. So they said that 3 weeks ago. So there's apparently a lesser demand for dollars in the parallel market now, and exchange rates are going to go up. The electronic platform is working its magic. The electronic platform, again, is know your customer. So the nefarious folks that are doing dollar exchange outside the platform, they're just going to find it tougher and tougher to have to deal with. So another thing was that this Al-Tamimi is noting to be saying, quote, while stressing the need to take quick steps by the Central Bank of Iraq. So the central bank can easily take swift measures to take this whole thing that's been over the last 3 weeks to a new level. Al-Sudani said that the value of the exchange rate was going to be increased at some point in time, and possibly within the next few weeks. The next few weeks is up, and we'll see if he lives up to his estimated time frame. I believe that he has been out in the streets tonight. Well, maybe not in the streets, but he had an address. We'll get into that a little bit later. But here again, his al-Sudani's quote is that al-Sudani urged Iraqis not to acquire the dollar and said, we reassure the citizen not to acquire the dollar because the dinar is the strongest, end quote. Those are his words, they're not mine. That was on April 17th. Come fast forward, it's about 3 weeks ago. What was his statement was Iraqi dinar will rise against the US dollar in the next few weeks. So I think I covered that. It's fascinating, and it's in Patreon. It's in our forum. You can do some not Google search, but you can search our forum and find little buzzwords. It's really helpful. You can put in al-Sudani. You can put in some of those words I just used to find the information that I just showed you or told you about. So the next thing that I was wanting to get into was there is a regional forum initiative to communicate with the masses, and that's al-Sudani. What did he want to do? He wanted to talk to them about what I just talked about, I think. Because, I mean, think about it. If the first thing on your mind, if you've been told that you're going to have purchasing power, you're going to have a new life, effectively, if you're going to have your hydrocarbon law, you've been told that the value of the dinar is the strongest in comparison to the dollar, you're going to go, well, when? How are you going to act? Let's go. Let's talk about that. So today, under the auspices of al-Sudani, it says that at about 8 o'clock tonight in Baghdad time in the evening, The forum was going to be potentially, kind of a mass communication to the citizens. It was going to be coordinated by the Director of Relations, the media, Community Police Department, the Ministry of Interior. Okay, so the cooperation of all these ministries, the electricity, the Baghdad Operations Command, the National Security Agency, and Service and Administration administrative agencies. They were going to have a forum tonight, and I'm assuming that they did. I'd like to hear what they have to say, and we'll see what they have to offer maybe tonight or tomorrow morning, or the next day or so. So it's important because that's what they're talking about. Then you have the Super Tuesday demonstration. And by the way, you guys, if power goes out, forgive me. We have a massive electrical storm coming through tonight, and I can see it out in the window, and it's coming my way. So it's pretty cool. Super Tuesday demonstration. That's slated for tomorrow, and that demonstration isn't something about a political situation so much as it is about financial situations, because they're talking about salaries. They're talking about people's getting fair and commensurate wages. And that's something that they want to have. Instead of having, let's say you're an engineer at your first 2 years and they pay you X. And then the next guy for 2 to 4 years is X, and 6 to 7 or 8 years is X. But the 2-year-old guy, he's getting what the 3-year-old guy gets. It doesn't work that way. Being loose on that, but that's kind of the gist I get. They want it fair. The electronic platform, to me, will show that when you have the commensurate wages specific to grades, they should be automatic. They should be across the board, pretty simple, easy when it's electronic, easy. So hopefully that's part of it. So if these demonstrations happen tomorrow, which is going to be Tuesday, I'm feeling that since Al-Sudani came out tonight, he may have tamped that down. Again, because why? Because what we were thinking is that he's the one that said that the dinar was going to be stronger to the dollar, and I think the citizens, they believe in him, and I think he wants to live up to that expectation. So basically, what I feel is that this is a fairness situation. It's not surprising. The newer electronic platform systems, when they're implemented, they will make sure that there's a proper amounts for salaries, the commensurate pay grades of their peers. So those things are important. So if they take to the streets tomorrow over the matter, it could be serious. It could also be something that celebratory, but we're going to have to watch and see. But ultimately, as they said themselves, as I mentioned earlier, they can make quick steps, and if they make quick steps, they can make sure things are probably peaceful and ready to go, because that's the focus on this whole thing, is to get Iraq to a market economy, the private sector. Fawad Hussein, he in the back time, again, I come back and say I go back in time. He was in New York. He did a lot of things, and he talked about mechanisms of action. He wanted to basically organize things for a better situation, and looked for stability and to maintain supply and demand through the country. And he basically said, quote, "What I know is that the economic situation of Iraq is good, as its reserves, its foreign reserves, its cash, its oil, whose price is high. When you own these things, there will be no fears for your currency." So back in February, he set the stage for what we're seeing today. So this has been a work in progress. It hasn't just been a can kicking, in my view. It's so much deeper than that. But hey, it still feels like it's can kicking. But the truth is, a complex reinstatement, revaluation, taking a country from a war-torn country into a Marshall Plan situation to rebuild it. You have Al-Sistani out today. He's going to have three shifts. That's 24/7. They're going to start rebuilding this country 24/7. That's what he did today. So you got to go, wow, there is something going on. The concern is not related to the dinar and the dollar, but rather to the working of the mechanism. So when they say something like that, it means that they're working in conjunction, because the dollar is not going away. Okay? The dollar is not going to go away, in my view. And nor is the dinar. So when they say things like that, those are powerful things. And then I noticed Ophelia showed up. I wonder if she's going to come over and say hello. But in the meantime, she's taking a seat, so it's kind of cool. What is it? A joint statement has been made last night, and the USA and Iraq are working as a team effort to enact reforms. That means active. They're going to activate them. So they've been working together. You see our what is it? Our ambassador Romanowski with the UN, Janine Blackshart from the UN, she's been in town. All of these different people are showing up, and they're supporting Iraq to do what they're doing. So again, the foreign affairs gentleman today, he's in the news once again, and what he basically is stating is that he and the Deputy Prime Minister are working together, and the ministerial operation and investment budget and the provisions contained in the federal general budget law for 2023, 2024, and 25. He basically is getting to the point where the gentleman that's talking about is Al-Atawani. They quote, the need to pay attention to the ministry as it is the external interface of the country, and to provide support in representing Iraq in all forms and delivering a positive message to the outside world. So all of these things that they're doing, they're trying to paint a picture, is that, hey, we're doing the right things, we're making the right moves, and so that when it comes to foreign investment, you have the total deal with 27 billion, you have the Siemens deals, you have all these different contracts, all these different things, the medical, the health, all these education, everything's coming into town, and now they're going to go to 3 shifts a day. Okay, 3 shifts a day, 24/7. That's going to be massive amount of employment, the massive amount of materials coming into the ports. It's going to be all these things to build a nation, rebuild it after being destroyed, is a monumental event. And I have not witnessed it in my lifetime, because Germany and Japan were well before me. Okay, but the bottom line is, that's where we're at. We're in a situation where you're even talking about water. They're going to build 3 million houses. Don't you think every single house is going to need some water? They're dealing with that with Turkey. So when we see all these things, you got to go, wow, this is a big, complex project. So ultimately, you guys, they're going to do some other things too. And to make it fast and furious is like, here's an article today about Al-Rashid. Urges citizens to deal with electronic cards instead of cash. Okay, no problem. We all kind of do that. We all swipe cards. Everybody likes to have cash. Okay, I mean, I had a nickname when I was a kid, but we'll leave that alone. But the cool thing is that this general director of the Rashid Bank, Mohammed Samir, he's basically stating that the directive of the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister and their departments and their general administrations and banks are trying to harness all the capabilities of the success of cash withdrawal programs and the issuance of electronic cards for all customers and for all daily transactions. So what they're trying to do is to get people on the new system and to be able to facilitate trade with digital cash, just less cash. Just like you and I going to the store and swiping our card from our bank account. That's pretty much what it is, and it all comes right back down to these guys are not stopping with this point of sale equipment. Whether that's going to be the point of sale equipment with swiping a card in a machine while you're at the gas station or at the grocery store, or is it going to be at the ATM machines in country? Word on the street is that there's things coming, different changes. So hopefully we're going to be part of all that, and we're going to see that comes to fruition. So let's see what happens. And if you like all the content that I've brought you, when you're on YouTube, hit subscribe. If you joined Patreon, welcome. Come into Discord and enjoy the time. And if you feel like you believe in us enough to want to donate, please do so. Thank you very much. Enjoy your night.